Hello everybody, Sean here, aka Cleaver Says, once again with an FIA Nations Cup on Gran Turismo Sport. This one from the 4th of January. This was Fuji for the N200 class, and as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, I chose the wrong car. Here's the thing, a little bit of naivety maybe on my part, but you know, when you get these limits of what car you can have, and you kind of subscribe to them, and I don't really delve that much into this kind of car class for anything. Like if I'm online race or anything else, I'm normally Group 3, Group 4, Group 2, any of the other bits. Mainly because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the sim racing. I don't entirely go for normal cars. So here we are on the N200 class, and I'm looking and I can't decide what I want. Whether I want to have an Alfa Romeo, whether I want to have the Honda. But what I decide is the BMW M3. It's a nice car. Look at it. It's lovely. Classic 80s motor. Look at the inside of it. And I'm just going to go through the beginning of Fuji here just to give you a look at the inside of that cockpit and just that lovely sound as you go through. Now, it will become very apparent why this is the wrong car, and if you've done this race, you'd have probably already seen that most people are driving a Toyota SF or S-FR concept, which is not an N200 class car, and that's where the naivety comes in, because I don't really deal with this kind of class that much. So what actually happened was all of these cars, the SF concepts or SFR concepts, I can't remember how you say it now, they're N400 class that are down-tuned because of the balance of power and everything else. So compared to the last race, this time I decided to wait before we left the pits, and to be perfectly honest, that was for the best. I mean, if you have a look at this now, there's loads of people out there, and that's it. Loads of people on track. So why would I go out then? No, instead, I would wait. And there we go. Clear track in front of me. I can actually get a lap and find out what I can do in this BMW M3. And here we are at the end of the lap, 2:09. Not a fast time at all compared to everybody else. If you have a look at most people, they're running at around about a 2 minutes free. And here we are, and as you can tell, I'm definitely in the wrong car because everybody is in the other car. Look at them all there. There's another one of it. S-FR Racing Concept, there it is. And there we are with the BMW M3 Sport. Why not? And there is somebody there with an Alfa, so it's not just me. But here we are, start of the race. And one of the things I love about Fuji, because I've done it a lot myself in my own time, and occasionally when it's on the daily races with the Group 2, because I just love a good bit of Super GT, is just this first corner. And I mean, we just had La Source in Belgium in the previous video, and if you haven't looked at that, please feel free to go back and have a look at that. Quite an interesting little race, going from last back up again. But here we are, just outbraking many people into this first corner. I seem to be pretty good at that, and I'm trying desperately, even though I've not got the clutch on properly and I haven't got like a manual gear shifter plugged in at the moment to my rig, I am still trying to blip the throttle as I go down to try and keep the speed. But there are some parts of this course where I do struggle in this car to keep the pace compared to the S-FR concept car, mostly because I don't have the downforce. So that corner there, I have to slow down more than the other cars. This corner, I just can't keep the speed coming into it, but I can keep quite a lot of stability, which means I also need to slow down quite a bit here, which causes a lot of issues. As you can see, this guy bounced me out of the way, and he got a penalty for that because I had slowed, I wasn't on the accelerator, and he had it all foot down. Anyway, Fuji, I love this track, and this is the short version of the track, which basically means they've taken out one chicane right here at the bottom of the circuit. So we've got a nice little quick right-hander here that we can just put our foot down through rather than having to go in and out. That caught me out a couple of times as I was trying to find where this car really was, you know, what I could do, how I could push this car. This part of the course I love. It's so tricky unless you're on some really, really good tyres at this point. And you can tell everybody else gets caught out. The melee that's happening right now in front of us with all of these cars, it's just crazy. It's just everybody bouncing over each other. And again here, this is, if you get this corner right, the amount of speed you can keep in there is lovely. But anyway, in front of us we've got two people. We started 10th we don't have the pace compared to this car. We certainly don't have the speed in the corners compared to other people in the majority of the car. And you're probably wondering, why didn't I just go back and redo the race in that other car once I realised? It's because, well, you know, committed. You know, I just thought I'd do that, and of course I was going out late that day, so I didn't really have the time to redo it. This is the first race at 4 PM in the GMT time zone, but here we go, trying to desperately brake into that corner, but keep the speed going up so we can power out. And a lot of people didn't seem to be able to hang with me with that. But anyway, that's the first lap of Fuji, and here we are. We're just going to see somebody come up my inside who's got the speed coming out of that corner. He took it quite well, and you know, there was actually not a lot of banging, quite a lot of good racing, mostly because I left a lot of space, and a lot of other people were quite nice about it as well. They weren't banging around too much, not compared to the other one, apart from this part here. This is later on in the lap where this guy comes in front of me, and I realise I can outbrake him because this guy's outbraked. And then I'm not sure whether I was punted off, whether I outbraked everybody and just made a bit of a boo-boo. So I had to go back on this one, and I had to go and check the replays to see exactly what happened. Was this my fault or not? I didn't get a penalty, so it couldn't have been my fault. But did I make my own demise? Let's have a little look. Did I just ask for trouble? So I'm coming into the bottom of the circuit. This guy's got the speed on me, and he really cuts in front of me. Like, really cuts in front of me. I would have rear-ended him. But, as you can see, he pit maneuvers me. So he just taps my back, and that ruins it. If I'd have just been a little bit further forward, wouldn't have hit me, and I'd have been absolutely free. I would have had 2 positions there as he caused the accident. But look how close he cuts in front of me. And he brakes. I have to be out of the way. And then just chaos all round. It didn't just ruin, I'd say ruin my race. It didn't ruin my race. It also had a problem for this guy who was behind me, but he managed to overtake me just before this part of the straight. And as you can see, here's an example of me trying to outbrake somebody. I believe this one I probably fail doing it. And one of the reasons I failed is because I didn't slow down enough, because I didn't hit the downshift quick enough to go down from 4th to 3rd. So I was stuck in there. And anyway, this is kind of the repeating theme of this race. I'm not fast enough. I can get in the slipstream on the straight, and I can outbrake everybody into the first corner. But by the time I get down to the end, I'm back behind again. And here we are. We're plumb last at the moment. And we're just slicing through the middle because this car has more grunt than the car that everybody chose, as long as it's in a straight line. It just doesn't have the cornering speed or the lightness in that. But there you go. That's an example of we're trying to outbrake people, and you know, we get a little bit clear, and we can get there. Now this race is actually quite a high tyre consumption, quite a high fuel consumption, and something about this car was really, really good. As this guy crashes and burns, see you later. We're up into 14th place now. As you can see right there, as I was saying, like I can't keep the speed going into there because I need to slow down. And this guy, like, he can approach a lot quicker, he can slow down a lot quicker, and he can accelerate a lot quicker out in that Mazda. So that was pretty good. I'm not entirely sure what class that is, but here we are again at the next lap. Just outbraking, trying to keep those revs up and going a bit wide, but being able to hit the gas a lot sooner, and we're clear. Mostly. He's still behind me. He's going to try and come into the inside, as this is right. I know this. I'm trying to occupy the middle of the course as much as I can, and I know he's there, and we just got to give him a bit of space. He's very kind to not pump me out there, and you know, that was all very well done. A little bit later, and as you can see, like, I just mistimed that one. I'd gone off the course. I had to slow down a bit too much, and this guy came through quite easily. And because I compromised so much speed and almost got the slide on, the guy behind me had too much speed, and I didn't want to cause an accident. I defended a little, but I mostly let him through. Hoped he'd outbrake himself and get a little bit of an undercut here. But as me and the Mazda both desperately tried to get some grip coming out of there, and it just didn't work. Our tyres are both quite fine, and I don't really know what happened to the Mazda guy here, because he just decided to pull over and give up. And I have a little look. I think I have a little look back in a second to see where he is, but he will just quit. And that is it. The field is down more people. And we only started with, I believe, 17 people in this field. So I don't know why people were not particularly happy with it. I think everybody had a pretty good chance in this race as long as you had the right car, which of course I did not. But there's something nice about not having the right car, because you can learn more about your craft. You can learn more about how to take the corners, how to brake well, how to get things done. Here we made up a couple of places because of pit stops, because other people were pitting because their tyres are done. And I don't really know why, because my tyres were fine throughout this entire race. My fuel consumption was fine. Maybe it was something different with the car. And we're coming close to the end of the race now. As you see, I outbrake myself here, but there's a lot of carnage going on in front of me. And a few penalties there as well. But it's something about learning a track, and it's a track I do go quite well because I've done it quite a bit. But learning a track and having the wrong car is actually quite fun, because this guy left the door very open. He's going to have much more speed coming out of it, and here's the example of what I mean by I can't corner and as much as he can, or keep the speed in the corner as much as he can in that car. So I'm always going to lose out on this. But you know where your faults are, so you try to drive as best as you can elsewhere. Like I'm trying to outbrake into the first corner because I know I can get that slipstream and I can outbrake there because I'm confident there. And even coming into this last corner down at the bottom, not the last corner down at the bottom, but this penultimate corner, which is normally the chicane, I can brake somewhere normally just a little bit past, just change down a gear and then just slow down enough and then just get on the gas through the middle of that corner, just to keep the speed going through, whereas a lot of other cars have to slow down quite a lot and take it much more severely. I can throw this thing around quite well in the high speed stuff. I just can't throw it around by maintaining speed through a corner. I can throw it around by them having slowed and then just getting on the gas, but that's what happens, I guess, when you're doing these kind of things. So honestly, not a great race. And we're coming up to the final lap now, and for some strange reason, this guy, I don't know how I've got the pace on it. He very obviously slows down. I don't think he gives up, because I believe he still races that, but he slows down. The car in front of me has had a penalty, so he's had a slowdown, so we managed to get straight past him as we're coming on to what I believe, yes, is the final lap. And now here we are in the defensive mode in the final lap. We're in 11th place. We're only one place down from where we started, and as you can see, I just can't keep the speed going into that corner. That guy is right there behind me, and now I had a good little bit of space on him before this corner, and now I've just got to really get there. To be perfectly honest, my times weren't too bad. I qualified with a 2:09. I was averaging a high 2:08 by the end of the race, and throughout most of it, apart from the crash times, my lap times were quite consistent, which was quite nice. As you can see, we're also not going to make the end of the race because the timer ticking down. But here we are. We're coming up to the penultimate corner of the race, and this one is so tricky. You got to get wide and you got to get across. And I've slowed down, but this guy doesn't need to. And forced out wide. Was I bumped? Was I not bumped? I don't know. I was waiting here. Is this guy going to get a penalty? So I try and keep within a second of him. Am I going to get the slipstream on him? So will it matter or not? But I just get a little bit of a slide because the tyres are gone as I come out. The car just can't handle getting on the gas that early, and this guy is away and he's got the position. No penalty though. So he's come up the inside. I've hugged the line quite highly, quite closely. So we'll see here in the next replay that we've got. As we come up to it, he's on me. I'm defending. I leave the door open, admittedly. But I leave the door open so I can take the line. I'm maybe asking for a punt, but I'm not entirely sure this guy was going to be brave enough. Or I was hoping if he did go up there, he'd outbrake himself. But there he is with bumping me off the track a couple of times with all four wheels off the car. Did not get a penalty, which I think was a lot more of an aggressive move than the guy earlier in the race who did get a penalty. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess, so here we go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you do want to see more, please like and subscribe. Here we are at 12th place finishing, and we've made 4 points, which is more than what we've made before, so this is great. So we can get a little bit more points on the board. That's always good. And we get a free car. It's not going to be great. It's going to be a Lexus. Don't get too excited. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to see more. Leave any comments that you want to. And yeah, we'll see you in the next FIA Nations race to see how well we get. Thanks for watching. See you later.